What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch and review for you. So today we are talking about the OPI Infinite Shine What's Your Mani-tude collection for fall 2025, and if this sounds familiar, it might be because I did recently review OPI's fall 2025 collection, but this time we are talking about their Infinite Shine, which is their longwear collection, and they've actually released 12 colors that are different from the original for this line. So I'm going to show you all the swatches of these colors today. Very similar vibe, a mostly cream collection. We've got the very grungy autumnal sort of vibes here, but we also have a little bit of like a gold flaky running throughout some of these. So let me show you all the swatches first, and then we can get into pricing, availability, all that good stuff. So roll the swatch footage. So as with all my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today I'm using the Holo Taco base coat. Starting off with this shade, A Total Suzi. This one is a light beige neutral cream shade, and I was actually really impressed. Even just on the first coat, you could see a lot of opacity and it gave me perfect coverage in two. I feel like this sort of light beige with a little bit of a pinky undertone tends to be very popular around this time of year, and I honestly always love it. You can see it definitely is cooler than my undertones, but I think it still ends up suiting me pretty well. So I actually really enjoyed this one. Next up, we have the shade Rollerbabe, and this one is a beautiful vibrant orange. Now in the bottle I thought this was going to be a cream finish, but once I started applying it I realized it had more of a jelly formula, but I have to say I wasn't hugely impressed with it. It did self-level to an extent, but I just noticed after two coats that there were some areas that were a little bit patchy and had a little bit more opacity than others. I was able to get it pretty even in three coats, but I feel like it definitely requires more careful application. So I wasn't totally in love with this one. I do love a vibrant orange for this time of year, especially, you know, all of that fall harvest pumpkin-y sort of vibes, but I don't know, this one didn't really do it for me. And then we have the shade Mini Plaid Flirt, and this one is a super vibrant red, and I would say this also kind of veers into jelly formula here, but of course, as with OPI reds in general, I feel like this one is a way better formula. It was pretty much one coat coverage, even though it did have that sort of jelly-like consistency, and here I am applying a second coat. Absolutely stunning color. It has this sort of orangey undertone to it, so it's really vibrant, but to me this is like the fall color. I think I actually said this in the last OPI review because they had a similar shade, but this plus like a neutral leopard print vibe is just so perfectly autumnal to me, so I don't know, I'm really into it. I will never stop loving OPI reds. Up next we have the shade Knee High Stock-blings, and this one is a really beautiful dusty brick red base that has this sort of glass fleck running throughout, and this is something that I feel like OPI does every once in a while, and something about their little flecks are so different from other brands to me, and I really love them. They're very delicate, they're very sheer and glassy, but they just add so much texture and interest to a polish. So I think this one's really gorgeous. It gave me really nice coverage in two coats, which I thought was impressive because again, it kind of had a little bit of that jelly-like formula, but I really love this sort of dusty shade. It feels really perfect for fall. And then we have another cream shade. This one is Nail Prep Rally, and this one is a slightly deeper, I would honestly also call this a brick red, but this one is a little bit more of a brownish tone, and again, it has a little bit of dustiness to it, and this is what I kind of think of as like the fall, deeper reddish kind of color. It's really beautiful. As with OPI reds in general, it gave a really gorgeous formula, applied super smoothly, perfect coverage in two coats, and I don't know, I just feel like it's sort of a classic color. Next up we have the shade Lip Hot Liner, and this one actually ended up being my favorite in the collection. For some reason in the bottle I was thinking it was going to be more of a reddish color, but once I started applying it on my nails I felt like it became this sort of chocolatey brown cream shade, but it still had really beautiful warm undertones to it, and again it just feels like a very classic fall color to me. I love how deep and dark it is, but it's still very clearly a brown color. It doesn't look black in low lighting, so you can still get that beautiful warmth on your nails, and again it just applied perfectly. It gave me perfect coverage in two coats, and I don't know, I'm just really excited to wear deeper browns like this for fall. So now moving on to the more cool tones of the collection. This one I would say is kind of in the middle. It's called Tracksuited Cutie, and it's kind of like this purple grayish mix of beige and gray with a little touch of like a cool purpley undertone to it. And again, it has that sort of jelly-like formula with the glass fleck in there that shines a little bit golden on the nails. And I thought this one was really beautiful. It did give me a little bit of sheerness in two coats, so I ended up applying a third, and I think that's where I really was able to build up the color and coverage perfectly. And I have to say, because it was a thinner formula, I didn't mind doing this one in 3 coats. It honestly reminded me a little bit of ILNP, but again, there's just something about these OPI glass flecks that feel very unique to me, so I really enjoyed this one as well. And then we have the shade Belly Button Bling. Again, that sort of jelly-like formula with the glass flecks in here, but this time we have a very cool toned medium gray base, and then the little flecks in here actually almost give off a little bit of a blue look. Now, I'm not sure if they actually have a different color or if it's just because they're reacting to that cooler base color, but this one is definitely gorgeous. I feel like this is going to be a really perfect transition into the winter season as well, because it does remind me of like the overcast days and the snowy vibes, but it also feels like a great fall color, kind of just like the navy blue, gray, back to school sort of vibe. And then we have the shade Totally Tu-blue-ar. I have to say, this took me like 5 tries to say out loud, but this one is a sort of pastel, slightly dusty, light blue cream shade, and I was a little nervous about this one. I feel like colors like this can be hit or miss. Either they're very difficult to get opaque or they're just a little bit patchy, and I thought that this one was going to be a little bit on the patchy side, but it ended up actually self-leveling really nicely. So as it dried on that second coat, it really smoothed out and gave me perfect opacity. So very pleasantly surprised by this one. It feels like a very 90s color. I feel like we all had this color as our eyeshadow in the 90s. So this one is perfect to me. And then we have one more of the glass fleck kind of polishes. This one is called Get in Platform-ation, and this one is a dusty navy blue color, again with those sort of silvery clear glass flecks running throughout. And this one was really impressive coverage. The other ones in this formula kind of felt like they were a more jelly vibe, whereas this one definitively felt like a cream finish. It actually almost gave me opacity in the first coat, but I ended up needing a second. And this one, again, perfect back to school sort of vibes. I think this would pair so beautifully in any sort of manicure or nail art with the gray. Those two colors to me just always scream back to school. So I think this one's really fun, really beautiful, and I also think that this is going to work nicely to transition into wintertime. Then we've got the shade My Berry Janes, and this one is a warm toned deep purple shimmer. So on the first coat it does look a little bit lighter, but as I got full coverage, which for me took 2 coats, I was able to get that nice deeper darker color in there. And again, it's bright enough that it still definitively looks like a purple. It doesn't look like a black on the nails, but it does have that deep sort of coloring to it, and it does have a really interesting coloring. I feel like this one, it does look like a warmer tone, but the shimmer in there kind of cools it down, so it makes for a very interesting purple. Again, very classic fall vibes to me. And then the last shade in this collection is OPI'm A Supermodel, and this one is a green cream finish, but again, this one sort of had a little bit of a jelly formula. It reminded me a lot of the orange shade, and while this one did give me full opacity in 2 coats and it didn't have as much patchiness as the orange color, I wasn't a huge fan of this. You know, I always talk about how I wish there were more green nail polishes in the world, but I have to say, OPI just comes out with the same exact shade of green every single time. It's always this slightly deep forest green cream, and I don't know, I'm kind of tired of it. I would love to see them switch it up and do something different, because it's getting kind of stale for me. I don't know. What do you think? And then here's the full collection side by side. I have to say, looking at these all together, this is such a stunning color story. I just love the warmth of it. It definitely feels like majority fall, autumn leaves, all of the vibes that you get during this harvesty sort of season, with a little bit of Halloween-y vibes sprinkled in. You also get a few cooler tones that I said kind of have this sort of academic feel to them. So I really enjoyed that as well. I think that the glass fleck finish is super fun, and I'm glad that they did that, and overall I think they did a great job with these. Like I said, the orange ended up being a little disappointing to me, and I felt the same about the green. I know it's kind of hypocritical because I could review 1,000 red OPIs and love every single one of them, but the thing with the red OPIs is that they always have different undertones, different colors going on, slightly different formulas, whereas I feel like they're always doing the same thing with the green. So I don't know, that's just my personal opinion, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. But either way, let me talk about my thoughts on these a little bit more, so let's get into it. So yeah, those are the polishes. Like I said, similar sort of vibes to the regular collection, but we've got a different set of colors here, and honestly I really enjoyed them. I feel like I've not been totally in love with OPI collections for the last few releases, but their fall collection has definitely brought me back. I think in general I just really enjoy their autumn releases, and I think that they did a very good job this time around as well. I will say I've never actually tried the Infinite Shine to see if it lasts any longer than the regular OPI line. I've been meaning to do that for so long in a video, but I still have not done it, so it'll definitely happen eventually. But in terms of which I prefer, if I had to choose one, I would probably just choose the regular line for this collection because I do think I slightly prefer those colors. But yeah, like I said, I enjoyed these. I think they were great. I think that OPI in general has a very nice beginner friendly formula, and they are pretty self-leveling. The only thing that I wish I could change about OPI is I wish they would switch over to doing rounded brush tips, because they do have the straight brush tip, and I feel like sometimes that kind of makes my manicures look a little boxy, so I do have to clean around the edges a little bit. But yeah, now let's get into pricing and availability. Like I said, this is part of the Infinite Shine line, so it's in the regular OPI bottle, but it does come with the silver cap. So the way to tell the difference between the different OPI formulas is the regular polishes have a black cap, the Infinite Shine have a silver cap, and then their gel polishes, which require a UV lamp to cure, those have a white cap. But yes, they all come in the 15 milliliter bottles. They all have the medium wide flat brush with a straight tip. I get my OPI from Beyond Polish, which is a nail polish retailer, and the Infinite Shine there retails for $11 USD, but I do have a discount code for Beyond Polish. You can use the code KELLI to get 10% off your order, and that's not just for OPI. They do have a bunch of other brands as well, including some indies, so definitely check that out if you're interested. I'll link them down in the description. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think of this collection? How do you think it compares to the regular OPI Fall 2025 colors? And if you had to choose one, which would you prefer? Leave it all in the comments so we can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. I love you all, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Oh, this is a terrible would you rather. I mean, not terrible, but it's like a terrible scenario. Would you rather always sneeze glitter or always cry confetti? I feel like glitter is just one of those things that never goes away. If I got glitter everywhere, and I mean, I'd try my best to cover my sneezes, but I feel that glitter would get everywhere regardless, and then I would just have glitter all over the place all the time, and that would be terrible. Confetti is also annoying, but I feel like you can clean that up slightly easily, so I think I would choose to cry confetti. What a wild scenario. Yeah, and I sneeze a lot more than I cry, so I think it would just be easier in general, and I can, like, to an extent control my crying. Can't really control my sneezes. Like, I can't hold in a sneeze. If I have a sneeze coming, I'm just gonna glitter everywhere. But if I'm like ready to cry, I mean, I could try to, like, you know, be in a place where I can easily clean up the confetti. Let me know your answer in the comments, and I will talk to you all in my next video. Bye!